overtime, looking at that illegal man downfield penalty on Tevin, can you just talk a little about what you were thinking when you saw that and how it kind of like affected what happened for the rest of the overtime period?
We've got to be a little more squared away there on that. It's kind of confusing how it happened. It was a goal line play that was called outside of the 10, and the play got strung out a little bit more than normal, and so I think Tevin just kind of lost where he was on the field.
And just going with the other penalties during the game, Texas had more, but it seemed like the penalties you guys had was more significant to the outcome of the game. Did you feel that?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, there was, Texas had 142 yards in penalties, and we had 70. Obviously, the one at the end in the overtime on the pass interference call against number 13, that one was pretty significant. But, I mean, this is a simple game for us, really. I mean, we lost the turnover 5-0, and we got a kick return for a touchdown. So you have to give Texas credit. They made the plays in the end to win the game, but we didn't give ourselves a chance. You have 4 turnovers, and you have a roughing the punter, which is 5 turnovers, and we give up a kick return for a touchdown. So, as I've said many times before, disciplined football, special teams, and turnovers is what determines the outcome of games till you get to the latter part of the season. And we failed in those areas today, and then this is the result you'll get.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Our next question comes from Garen Emig from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Garen.
Mike, it seemed that it was pretty evident what happened on most of your miscues, your turnovers. From your vantage point, the exchange way back in the first quarter between Hubbard and Sanders, could you see what was at fault there?
I couldn't because I can't see through the line on replays, until I was to watch video. But it doesn't make a difference. That shouldn't happen. I mean, we're too far along to have exchange issues like that with those two guys. And it'd be unfair for me to give you what happened without having a fair look at it. But either way, we can't have those things happen. Not in good football teams. That's not going to happen.
I don't mean to pick on Spencer, but he's had these issues before. He talks about the need to take better care. How frustrating is it? What can you do to help him along in his process toward taking better care with regard to ball security?
Well, we have to look at the tape and see what happened, identify the problem, then come up with a plan for it. It was a little different. Today was a little different than what it has been in the past for him. The play that you just referred to, I mean, we've been doing that. He's been doing that for 3 years. So that shouldn't happen, whatever happened. And then a couple times looked like we're holding on to the ball too long and getting stripped from behind. So either way, when you lose the turnover margin like that, probably not going to win the game.
Our next question is going to come from Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, Mike, what happened on the roughing the punter? Did you have a rush on, or exactly what's going on, and how could you get yourself in that kind of situation?
We had a block on, and again, I can't see. I don't know what all went on, so it's hard for me to tell. But either way, our guys are coached that if you don't have a clear shot to it, you got to use what we call a drive-by. You got to be able to go out of the box of the punter and reach your hand out. That way, if you miss, you get the drive-by and you don't get the roughing. So, I mean, I'll be able to explain that more when I look at it, what exactly happened. But either way, we can't do that. You go after the block if you know that you've got it. If not, you got to swing by and miss the frame of his body.
What on a 4th and 22 when you say you have a block on? That seems odd, but do you do that often on long yardage situations?
the ball's punted near the 50 like that, and this guy can really boom it. He's got really good distance on his punts, and so we try to mix up return and block to try to not let him get into rhythm and down us inside the 10-yard line.
Our next question comes from Cody Nagel from Go Pokes. Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, Mike, it looked like you had some more injuries on the offensive line. How much did that affect the offense today?
I mean, I'm sure it affected it some, but again, I'm going to go back to the turnovers. I mean, I don't think it affected enough to where it could change our thought process on the way we look at this game from a turnover standpoint.
All right, thank you.
Down to our last couple questions here for Coach Gundy. Our next question is going to come from Sam Kahn from ESPN.com. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Mike, I know you mentioned a lot of mistakes. Toward the end, the pass interference call on you guys there in the end zone, what was your vantage point on it, and how much do you feel like that impacted the end result?
Well, obviously, they would have had to kick a field goal. If, it looked like to me that you guys probably had a better view than I did. It looked like to me the guy just went around and got his feet tangled up in our guy and fell down. I'm not sure. That one was a little bit iffy for me from what I saw. I would have to see it again. But that would have forced him to kick a field goal, that's for sure. I think that was third down.
Right. And also your thoughts on the play of 46 on their side, Joseph Osai, and kind of the impact he had on your guys' offense today. Well,
I thought he played a good game. He's a good football player. Toward the end of the game, the guy that made plays was Ellinger. I mean, he's we chased him down a couple times. We had unblocked guys came through on the pressure. He ran out of there and threw the ball back across his body for touchdowns. He's a good football player. He's the guy that got us late. Even with all the mistakes that we made today and how undisciplined that we were in certain areas, he still made plays at the end of the game that got us.
Thanks.
All right, our final two questions are going to come from Scott Wright and Frank Bonner. We're going to go with Scott first. Go ahead, Scott.
Yep, Mike, could you take us through the final play call and maybe what you guys saw and what went wrong there?
Again, I was looking on the perimeter. We had a good feel that they were going to bring pressure. Somebody got tangled up inside and missed a block. I can't say till I watch it and have a good idea. I hate to say, but we're trying to make a play and convert the force down, and they got after us and put us in a bad situation, and they made the play at the end of the game.
Other than the bust up front, did you have what you were looking for on the back end, or was it a mess back there too?
Well, we won't know because when he got chased out of the pocket that fast, that changed all the coverage and everything back there. Everybody's going to start flowing that direction. So it'd be really hard to tell without looking on tape and stopping it really early because he never got to set his feet. I think he was chased out of there before he could even set his feet.
Thanks, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Our final question is going to come from Frank Bonner from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Mike, I know you talked about the turnovers and it put your defense in some tough spots with short field position. What did you think about how they played today?
We gave up we got rubbed off on the big pass play, and then early we were getting beat on some inside zones. But without really studying it, I would say they had to play pretty good. We put them in terrible position time after time after time after time after time. And they rallied a few times and held them to field goals. So I'm going to say they played pretty good. You just can't put them – we can't put them in that position that many times, particularly against a quarterback like Ellinger.